Here we are inside the Swift Challenger 640. If we firstly come to the main control panel up here, we can press the power button and turn the 12 volt on. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on. This illumination here is letting us know that we have main supply connected to the van, and if we press view levels, it will give us a condition of the leisure battery. If we now come down to the Aldi control panel for the heating and hot water, we turn the panel on this one here, and on initial startup it will let you know if you have main supply connected and give you an internal temperature of the caravan. If we now press menu, it will bring up its basic functions. So along the top here we have the thermostat for the heating, literally plus and minus. Just pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees and drop all the way down to 5 degrees for frost protection. After that we then have hot water. So hot water is currently off, hot water on, and then hot water on a boost. We can use the boost facility if there's going to be more than one person having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you just would like a longer shower. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use the extra power. Even though we've picked these at the moment, so we've set our heating at 19.5 degrees and we turn the hot water on, the system has not actually fired up yet. We do need to now give it a power source. So if I want to run it on main supply, we use this one here. So we can run it on mains at 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts, just depending on the amperage of the site you're on, to stop yourself from tripping. And if we don't have main supply, we can run on gas by highlighting the flame. What we can also do is run in dual fuel. If we want to get up to temperature really quickly, the system will only use gas as it is required. After that, we then have the settings menu just here. So we have the clock set. We then have night timer and day timer. If we're going to be using timers, so let's say we're going to use the night mode, all we now need to do is turn the timer on and off up the top here. Set the temperature we would like it to be for that period. Set the time, so when night mode starts and when it's for, whether it's for all days of the week or just individual, and then when it finishes. We can also highlight this one here, and that will invert the backlight and make the screen go from white to black and the writing from black to white. And if we highlight this one here, we can also tell the boiler that we do not want any hot water throughout that period. After that, we then have exactly the same again, but just for the daytime. This is one delayed start and stop to the system, so instead of having multiple timers, what we can do is just have it so the system fires up at, say, Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then turns back off again at, say, Friday at 12 in the afternoon. Prioritise is what the system prioritises in using when in that dual fuel mode. So at the moment it favours main supply over gas. If you were on a very low amp site, you can flip it so it uses more gas, less electric. Temperature offset for the onboard thermostat. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just tweak it by a few degrees. If we then arrow down, we then have brightness of the screen just here. Antimicrobial. If you are going to use this, you do have to be using the night mode as well. That has to be turned on, and this. And then at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, the boiler will come on to kill off any bacteria that may be in it. Pump settings, just leave them on thermal. Button beeps, whether they're on or off. Language, external start if you wanted to have a sim box added so you can control your heating and your hot water via an app. These ones are not used on this model apart from the one in the middle, which I can highlight in a moment. Service, more for the workshop, but it will let you know what everything is up to. Full factory reset, if there is a major problem with it, you can just reset the control panel. And installed accessories. If we now go into this and we tick the load monitor, if we now go back up, you'll see it's highlighted and we can now use it. If you know how many amps the site is that you're on, let's say it's 10 amps, we can pick that. And now it doesn't matter even that we're running at 3 kilowatts, it will limit itself to stop you from tripping. Next we have the location for the consumer unit and the boiler. So the boiler just sits here, the onboard water pump just here with the surge dampener sitting right next to it. To drain the boiler down for winterization, just on the yellow lever just here, just flip it up like so. We then have the consumer unit just here. So we have the mains trip switches just here, the 12 volt fuses just here, and they are all labelled up on the sticker. We then have isolator buttons for components that use main supply. So we have the isolator for the heating and the hot water just here. So if you turn this one off, you will get an error message appear on the Aldi if you're trying to run the system on mains. We then have battery charger on and off. Again, we want this one on because we want to be able to charge the battery up when we're hooked up to main supply. And this one will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the van. If that does illuminate, this unit will make it safe and reverse it for you. Tucked down there we have the PIR sensor for the alarm, and the alarm box just tucked underneath here. Also tucked right at the very back there is also some more 12 volt fuses which are labelled up. Stereo just here, source button switches you between the auxiliary AM, FM and CD if you have one in. Change tracks just here. Easy graphic equalizer just here. Turn off again on the source button. We then have the solar panel regulator up there. We don't need to do anything with it. It will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. And then also up here we have the television aerial. So undo, push up, get the aerial into the position you require, then lock into position. Booster box on and off just here, and control the actual boost on the inner dial just here. Do make sure that the aerial is back down for travel, and do not over tighten because these can split. We then have the Dometic fridge freezer on and off on this one here. We then have main supply on the picture of the 2-pin plug. Then we have gas. These auto ignite themselves. And then we have 12 volt maintain for when we're towing. Obviously if I select this at the moment, it's going to beep at us because we're not hitched up to the tow vehicle. This is the noise we'll also get if we don't have mains connected, or if we've tried to light it on gas and it's failed. If you think it's just failed due to the simple fact that there might be a bit of air in the system, you can press this button here and it will then attempt to light again. Temperature control just here. And then this button here is the unit's anti-condensation jacket. This needs to be on when the temperatures outside are warm. it will basically stop the build-up of condensation behind the unit, which would then form a puddle at the base of it. During the winter months, this can be turned off like so. We then have the microwave just here, and then storage either side of it. I usually say it is a good idea to remove any contents before travel. And then we have quick start, stop just here. Hob, we have the electric hot plate that runs on this one here. And then everything else is gas, and it's just twist in and then press the igniter. We then have the grill. And then beneath that we have the oven. There we go. Underneath we have the plug plugged in for the electric hot plate, and then beside we have where the draining board is and gas isolation taps that are colour coded and labelled just here. Omnivent fan above my head, just rotate to raise, and then middle button turns the unit on. And then we have extraction for variable fan speed just by pressing. If I press the opposite, it will slow it back down, and then the blades will stop and spin in the opposite direction and then draw in air for cooling. Freestanding table just here. And then as we move through, we have the toilet just here. Bowl swivels all about. Open to the cassette on the grey lever just here. And then push to flush just here. And then level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the basin just here. And then the shower cubicle opposite. Spare wheel located underneath the bed. And then in the wardrobe we have the header tank for the Aldi heating system. We just need to make sure that the fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum. Only take your reading once the heating is up to temperature, as it will expand in the tank. If it does need topping up, you can do that yourself if you want to, just by removing the collar just here, unscrewing the cap just up the top here, then removing this part and then adding the top up solution. Do make sure that you're using the correct Aldi solution.